In this next segment, we're going to cover basic bow setup. We're going to install a rest, a sight, a nocking loop, a peep sight, and teach you how to serve in your peep sight. Okay, let's install this rest. The first thing you want to do is you take your bow in hand, take the rest that you've bought, set it up here, finger tighten the bolt down to where it's snug, get your Allen set. You want to look at your rest and kind of get a real good idea of where it is square before you tighten it down. Once you tighten your rest, most rests have a locking screw right here just to ensure that your rest does not move. After your rest is properly installed, everything's tight, nothing's moving around, you want to take an arrow, knock your arrow, set it down on your rest. A good starting point is to find where the arrow is level. So your nocking point and your arrow are coming in a straight line on a horizontal edge. When you set your center shot, one of the best ways to do it is to look down the center of your riser with your string, lining your string up through the center of your shaft. This is a perfect way to start, but when you start to finalize your center shot, you will have to tweak this a little bit. Now that you've installed your rest, everything's square, and you're happy with the placement of it, we're going to install the sight. Take your sight, set it up here, finger tighten the bolts down in just like we did the rest. Take your Allen set. You want to snug everything down. You're not going to move the back part of your sight, so we'll go ahead and make that nice and tight. Now that you've tightened your sight, it's time to check your sight pins and their alignment with your arrow. What you do is you take your arrow, set it back on your rest, look down, put the string down the center of the arrow shaft. When you look at your pins, mine are currently out to the left about a 1/4 inch. I want to take and I want to move these pins over about a 1/4 inch, line them up with my arrow in the center of the riser and the rest, and this will be a very good starting point to getting your center shot on this bow. Alright folks, now that we've installed our rest and installed our sight, the next thing we're going to work on is the nocking loop. You want to take your nocking loop material, and to get it started, you can take the end of your lighter and just fuzz up the end. You want to move it out a little bit so it separates. Then what you do is you burn it. Nice even burn all the way around, melting the end. As soon as you get it nice and hot, what I generally do is I take the end of my lighter and I just flatten it out. Once you flatten it out, you get a nice round end on it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to install our loop. You want to turn the loop, you want to bend it over just like this. You'll set it on the back side of the string. You'll run both ends through the loop that you just made. Once you get them both through there, pull on the longer end to the lower end. Get it snugged up a little bit. Now you've got the first end done. On the second side of the loop, what you'll do is you bend it down, make another loop. You want this on the far side of the string from you. Take it down nice and tight. You'll run the end of your material back through the loop. Pull it nice and tight. You bring it back towards you on this side of the string. And then run it right back through the loop. Once you have it through there, you just snug up your loop. And there's multiple ways to do this. Probably the safest way I've found is to take an Allen wrench, put it through the loop, hold it between your fingers like a release, and pull down on the string and up on the Allen wrench, which snugs up your release or your loop. Now that you got your loop installed, you want to take your bow out. Check with your arrow I'm going to wiggle it around a little bit, loosen up the knot. Set your arrow down on your rest and check your nock height. Once you've checked your nock height, you got everything set where you want, you can take your arrow off. Generally what I like to do is I like to take one of the releases I'm going to be shooting. I hook it on the loop, hold onto the string and the release, and just pull, make sure it's nice and tight. That way you don't have to worry about your nocking loop slipping on you. Now that we've installed your rest, your sight, and your nocking loop, we're going to install the peep sight. On this particular bow, my peep sight height is 5 1/4. The way you determine your peep sight height is you'll take your peep sight, you'll install it in your string, get it in there, you separate each color of your string. That way you ensure that you have the same amount of strands on each side of your peep sight. I've already pre-measured this out to 5 1/4, so I'm going to go ahead and set it into that spot. When you're determining your peep sight height, what you'll actually do is when you put your peep in, you'll put an arrow in the bow, you'll draw the bow back with your eyes closed. Set into your anchor point, nose touching the edge of the string to where you're comfortable. You don't want to lean your head down, you don't have to pick your head up. When you touch the nose on the end of the string, open your eyes and look through your peep sight. If your peep sight's a little high and you can't see directly through it very clearly, you want to move it down a little bit, and vice versa if it's low. You'll move it up if the peep's a little too low for you. And you'll want to center your peep housing with your sight housing. Now that we've got the peep put into the string, I know it's at 5 1/4 where I like to shoot it on this particular model. What we're going to do is I like to have a little bit of slack in the string, just so I can get a good tie, and it's nice and tight. I like to cut off about a 4-foot section of serving. When I start my serving, what I do is I take a loop, make a loop in the serving just like this. You'll set it right on the string. You'll take the long piece off the tail of the loop and you'll start serving. Come around your string, leaving the tail out here. You keep coming around. Until you have 6 or 8 rotations around your string. Once you have around 6 or 8 rotations, you want to take the short end of the tail and you pull it nice and tight, which snugs everything up on the portion that you just served. Now you'll take this tail end, take it back here, kind of get it out of the way, and keep going around your string. With a little bit of slack that I put in the string earlier with the press, it allows this to pinch up a little tighter above my peep sight. Once I get down, I'm about a 1/2 inch from the top of my peep. I don't like to go real close because I don't like to pinch it that tight. Once I get down about a 1/2 inch from my peep, what I'll do is I'll take my end and I'll start going through the inner section between the 2 strings. I'll go through here, just moving my way down one side. And I'll do this roughly 3 or 4 times, just working my way down towards the peep sight. Once I get down to the peep sight, I'll go around the peep sight 2 to 3 times just to ensure that my peep sight will not come out of the string on the shot. I've got my 3rd loop around. Now we're going to take the end of the serving once again and go through between the strands. I'm going to do this roughly 3 times just like I did on the top. Now I've got them 3 times in. I'm going to start my way around both colors again around the entire string. And again, like we did on the top, I'm going to go around the string, snug it up about 6 or 7 times. Okay, now that I've got my 6 or 7 rotations around here, I'm going to pull up on my string, on my serving material. I'm going to bring it around to the opposite side that you ended on right here. What you'll do is you'll hold it right there. A lot of people do this differently. It's all personal preference. This is the way I like to do it. I get the cleanest look this way and the peep doesn't move around. Now I'll hold my string right there, nice and tight. I'll take the back side edge and I'll start working it on the inside of this loop, going the opposite direction of the way I tied my peep sight in. Again, we'll go 6 or 7 times in this direction, just to kind of match up the length that we had on the top. Okay, now that we've had them rotations through, we'll take this long tail, we'll run it back towards the peep sight, just kind of hang it over by your cam. In doing this, what you've done is you give yourself the capability of bringing your serving around. And what you're doing is you're actually unwrapping it off of this side and wrapping it up on the peep tie side. Go all the way around till you run out of material. Once you've run out, you take your long tail, you pull it through nice and tight, snug it up on this end, and you've tied your peep sight in. One of the easiest things to do now is you take your lighter, burn off the excess. Now you just want to light the end of this tip, run it down, touch it with your finger. You've installed your peep sight. All right, folks, we've set your rest, set your sights, tied on your nocking loop, put in your peep sight, and served it in. ArcheryTalk is a great resource, and you can find great deals of information on ArcheryTalk. All you need to do is go to our forums, go to the bow tuning section, and you'll be able to get a lot of answers on any kind of problem you might have. ArcheryTalk would like to thank you for watching this video, and like I said, refer to our forums and answer all your questions.